Hello, my name is Jacob Easley. I'm an online student here at Full Sail. I'm with Team Opal during Game Design 3. And my level theme is based around a bank. This bank takes place in a city. And this bank has taken a lot of damage throughout the years. It's dilapidated and it's falling apart. Now, as you can see, I have these almost like pillars leading us to here, guiding lines. You have to crouch to get in through the first area. You can see that I have these gold coins on the ground, almost like collectibles. Now here's my first game mechanic, which is stacking filing cabinets to help you get to the next area. As we get up here, you can see that I have power boxes. Cutting these opens up next areas. As we come up here, and then we drop down, you can see that this is, in fact, a gate, giving a player a one-way out type of feeling. Now you can stack these up like a 1, 2, 3 staircase like a normal one, or you can stack it up like this. I have locked the rotation on these filing cabinets, so the filing cabinets aren't flipping over in every which direction. So you can build it up like a 1, 2, 3, or you can build it up almost like a spiral staircase. As we jump up here, and we come up to this area, you see that I have breadcrumbs, leading us to the next power box. As we cut this, it'll take us into our third and final area. You can see that I have a lot of filing cabinets over here. Now, so if you wanted to build it up like a 1, 2, 3 staircase, you could. But since I have locked the rotation on these, it is not necessary. You can see that I have those bars behind these filing cabinets. What this is for is to be unblocked once we cut the last power box. Now, as we come up here, we put the last one in place, and we're able to walk up. As we get up here, you can see that we have the case of diamonds, which is what we came into the bank for. Now, once we cut that, it opens it up. The next level is by Victor Gonzalez. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Victor Gonzalez, and I'm here to explain my level with you all. When initially starting the level, you will notice there's a switch in the corner, and after activation you will see a scale appear. This is the introduction to the mechanic, which is required to be done to progress to the next area. The players will grab the blocks left around the level and place the correct amount on the scales to complete the mechanic. These are puzzles that need to be solved by finding the correct blocks and placing the correct amount to unlock the gates. After moving to the next area, you will notice that I have created valves to avoid backwards progression and keeping the players within the next area. There are also hazardous areas where the player can die if taking enough damage. Set in a dark environment, the player will also require the usage of flashlights to get around the building. As seen throughout the level, there are several yellow blocks that serve as breadcrumbs. They are there to guide the players and to serve also as hints for the puzzles. There will be several duds, which include fake gates or blocks that will serve to make puzzles difficult and to make the player think a little bit harder. As shown, this fake gate was there just to confuse the player. It also serves as an obstacle to block the player from moving objects around the area. And as shown here in the outside area, you will notice there are several green blocks which serve as a confusion towards the player to make the puzzle a little bit more difficult. After completing the last gate, you will then progress from my level towards the next level, which belongs to Gustavo Kelbert.
My name is Gustavo Kelbert, and I'm a campus student. My level is a fitness center, and the player has been tasked by a boss to get a key that he lost in this very fitness center before the apocalypse. This key is later gonna be used in the next level to unlock a safe. When the player reaches the fitness center, he notices there's some dynamite. So the player can get the dynamite and snap it to the wall, and then he can also get a collectible on the floor and interact with the detonator, opening up the wall and allow him to enter the level. Some more cash lying around serve as breadcrumbs, and the player notices the door. but there's a message saying the door is locked. So he sees the key under the wall, goes on top of the pressure plate, and the key slides over to the player. With the key, the player can now go through the door. Then this next room, there are some conveyor belts that will push the player back if he tries to go through it. So the player notices the rings on the pool, gets one of the rings, and throws it on the switch. That switch is connected to the conveyor belts, as you can see by the wires leading up to it. Now the conveyor belts are turned off, the player can go to the next room, where he can see another dynamite mechanic, which he snaps to a vent cap, interacts with the detonator, and opens up the vent. He now has to wiggle through the vent that is very tight into the next room, which is in another pool area. Inside this pool room, the player notices something glowing above the top of the wall. He can then get the rings from the pool again and throw it at the switch. He notices the glowing object going to the left and stopping, so he grabs another ring, and now he throws it at the switch, turning on then the other conveyor belt. He now climbs back up out of the pool, and he sees that it was in fact dynamite, so he can snap the dynamite to the door and interact with the detonator, opening up the last area. Now, in this next place, there's some more cash lying around, and the key that he needs to get for the next level. And then he goes into the transition to the next level, made by Evan Mole.
Hey everybody, my name is Evan Mole. I'm a campus student, and my level is laboratory. The Bastion has tasked you, the player, to grab prototypes and notes that he left at his laboratory. As we get into this first room, the player is introduced to the first mechanic, which is to put the control panel onto the wall to open up the door. In these next couple of rooms, the player is led by breadcrumbs of these notes that will lead him to the next mechanic. Player sees that his pathway is blocked, so he has to move the filing cabinet over and crawl under this crawl space. Player sees this big green thing, surprise, can't get through. So he uses the lever, lowers down this wall of goo. Player then sees this control panel, picks it up, and snaps it onto the wall, leading into this hallway. More goo. It takes the control panel and needs to drag the control panel over into this other wall, opening up the door. This is the mastery section. Player will have to do 2 lever pulls and grab notes. Lowering the second part of the goo, player notices that it's a skull instead of a control panel. Player opens that, uses the key from Gustavo's level, and from here we are introduced into Zach's level.
Hey, what's going on everybody? This is Zachary Bakogiannis. I'm a campus student here at Full Sail, and this is my level, Vault 23. Someone from the Bastion has tasked us out to clear out the vault of any debris and obstacles, making sure it's in full working order to allow access to the vault for anyone that lives in the Bastion. Entering this first room here is the first mechanic. Player has a set amount of time to clear debris and move into the next room. Upon entering this room here, there are collectibles scattered about. Player will grab this barrel here, throw it at the switch panel, which is the second mechanic. Entering this room here, practice for the first mechanic, player will activate the switch, and they have a set amount of time to clear obstacles and get through this path with collectibles along the way to reach the door. As the player reaches this door, they'll be rewarded with some more collectibles, and they realize that there's another switch up on the ceiling. Player will walk behind the desk, find the barrel, throw it at the switch, and complete that mechanic. There are some leading lines with the lockers here, kind of directing the player on where they need to go. Player approaches that door realizing it's locked and they need to find a switch to activate it. As the player activates this switch here, they'll see the room drain of all the water. They'll gain access to that area and then move into the vault room. Upon entering the vault room, they'll be given a task that they need to activate the 4 switch panels along the walls using these barrels here. They're placed in different areas of the vault room with different sizes and obstacles blocking them to add a little bit of challenge for this last mechanic here. Player needs to locate them in all these areas here. And as the player throws the last barrel and completes this last mechanic, they will be able to activate the switch panel behind them, which will open up the vault door and grant them access. As this is functioning, the player can allowing them a little walk ramp here and leading into the next area, which was designed by Ely Bell.
Hello, my name is Ely Bell. I'm a campus student at Full Sail University. This is my level for PMP3. So far, the player, or the scrapper, has been collecting valuables and completing difficult tasks for the Bass who live in the Bastion, the last safe haven for civilized humanity, but only the wealthy were allowed residence, whereas everyone else of lesser importance must fend for themselves in the waste. The player, who is part of the few who remain outside, live in a decayed and nearly uninhabitable environment known as the waste. My level is the power source for the transportation between the Bastion and the waste. Now that the player has collected all that was requested of them from the Bass, it's time for them to deliver the valuables. But first, the player must restore power to the transport, which is in the basement of this level. Only accessible from the elevator, which is currently out of commission due to lack of power. The objective of the player for this level is to restore power to the building and deliver their valuables to the Bass. In order to do so, they must find the power modules and plug them into the sockets that are on the wall that power the elevator in order for them to access the basement to fix the generator for the transportation. Some of the power modules are hidden behind interactive walls, which the player can use other interactive pieces throughout the level to break these walls, using the grav null, which is the only tool allowed by the Bass for the player to use. Now that the player has completed the first objective, the player can now gain access to the basement by using the elevator and bringing the last power module that they need to restore power to the transportation. Players can just complete the second objective of getting into the basement. Now that the player has plugged in the last power module and flipped the switch to the generator, the transportation between the waste and the Bastion should now work. Going back up, the player will now exit the level. But the exit to the level is also an interactive wall, so the player must use another interactive object to break this last and final wall in order for them to get out of the level and to the transportation. Using the core action of jumping, the player now crosses their last obstacle in order for them to get on transportation to the Bash. My name is Ely Bell, and this concludes Team Opal's presentation.
Hmm?